Move your black ass out of my way. The words cut through the ballroom like a dropped glass shattering on marble, loud enough to turn heads, sharp enough to silence conversations, ugly enough to hang in the air long after they're spoken. The woman who says it doesn't hesitate. She's young, mid-20s, wrapped in a scarlet designer gown that clings to her like a second skin. Diamonds spill from her neck and ears, catching chandelier light with every slight movement. Her heels, Louboutin unmistakable, click confidently against the white marble floor as she shoves past. Hard, the impact is deliberate. The wine glass in her hand tilts. Red liquid spills in a violent arc, splashing down the back of the black woman standing beside the champagne fountain. It soaks into cream-colored silk, darkens it instantly, drips slowly, down her spine, down her hips, onto the pristine floor, beneath her feet. For half a second, no one reacts. Then the girl laughs. "Oops," she says, lips curling into a smirk as she looks the woman up and down. "Guess you'll always look dirty no matter what you wear." A beat. Her mother claps lightly, pearls shifting against fur. "Brittany," she says amused. "You got all over her." Her father throws his head back, laughter booming over the music as scotch sloshes dangerously close to the rim of his crystal glass. "Good," he says. "These people need reminders about their place." That's when the crowd moves in. Not to help, not to intervene, but to watch. Phones rise, one after another. Screens glowing, recording, capturing every second. Some guests laugh openly. Others whisper behind raised hands. A few look uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable enough to stop it. The black woman doesn't say a word. She stands completely still. Wine drips from her hair, down the back of her ruined dress, pooling dark red at her feet. Her shoulders remain squared. Her posture doesn't break. Her breathing stays even. Her face gives them nothing. But her eyes are ice cold. They move slowly across the room, over the laughing faces, over the phones, over the man enjoying his drink, the woman smiling behind her diamonds, the girl still holding the glass, proud of what she's done. She sees everything, and she remembers it. Have you ever watched someone's cruelty destroy them completely? Because what happened next didn't just end a night. It ended careers, IT ended reputations, IT ended an empire built on money and silence. But none of them knew that yet. Right now, they thought they were safe. They thought she was nobody. They thought they could humiliate her and walk away. They were wrong. Very wrong. And 3 hours earlier, none of this had happened yet. 3 hours earlier. Rain tapped steadily against the windshield of a black Mercedes idling 2 blocks away from a metropolitan grand ballroom. The city glows through the drizzle. Streetlights blurring, traffic humming, life moving on without any awareness of what about to unfold inside. In the driver's seat, a woman sits alone. Her name is Diana Morrison. She's dressed simply, a fitted black dress, no visible designer logo. Pearl earrings, small, understated, heirloom pieces that don't catch attention unless someone knows what to look for. Her hair is neatly pulled back. Makeup, minimal. Intentional. She isn't trying to disappear. She's trying to blend. On her lap, a tablet glows softly as she scrolls through documents. Contracts, donation records, lease agreements, numbers most people never see unless they're signing at the top. Her phone vibrates. She answers without looking at the screen. "Yes." Ms. Morrison, a man's voice says professional, excited. The Henderson project just cleared final approval. Zoning, funding, everything. Congratulations. A small smile touches her lips. "Thank you, James. Have the contracts ready by Monday morning." "Absolutely. This is going to change a lot of lives." "Yes," Diana says quietly. "That's the idea." The call ends. She glances up at her reflection in the rear-view mirror. Calm, focused, unremarkable. Exactly how she wants to look tonight. Because tonight, she isn't attending as Diana Morrison, founder of the Morrison Foundation, one of the city's largest private philanthropic organizations. Tonight, she's registered as D. Morrison, Foundation representative, Just another guest. Just another name on a list. She chose that deliberately. Diana learned a long time ago that the fastest way to understand people isn't to announce who you are. It's to watch how they treat you when they think you're nobody. The rain slows, then stops. She exhales once, opens the door, and steps out onto wet pavement. Her heels click softly as she walks toward the glow ahead. The Metropolitan Grand Ballroom rises like a monument to excess. Valets in crisp red jackets rush forward, opening doors for arriving guests wrapped in fur, sequins, tailored suits. Laughter spills out through the entrance. Camera flashes pop. Inside, the ballroom dazzles. Crystal chandeliers hang from gold-painted ceilings, massive and radiant. White marble floors shine like mirrors. Round tables draped in silk fill the space, centerpieces of roses and candles flickering softly. A string quartet plays near the stage, where the Beacon of Hope logo glows on a massive screen. 300 guests mingle. Designer gowns. Perfect tuxedos. Champagne fountains flowing endlessly. At first glance, it's beautiful. Then Diana starts noticing details. The servers move quietly through the room, carrying silver trays with practiced grace. Almost all of them are black or brown. Their uniforms identical. Their presence efficient and invisible. The guests, on the other hand, are overwhelmingly white. Diana scans the seating. Guests of color sit at back tables, or as plus ones beside wealthier patrons. Rarely centered, rarely acknowledged. The front tables, closest to stage, are reserved for families whose names appear on banners and programs. And right in the center of the room sits the Ashford family, platinum sponsors. Richard Ashford leans back in his chair like a man who owns the air around him. Silver hair slicked neatly into place. Tailored tuxedo. Confident smile. His wife, Constance, glitters beside him. Diamonds stacked unapologetically at her throat, wrists, ears. Their daughter, Brittany, sits across from them. Scarlet dress. Phone always in hand. Diana moves slowly through the room, blending in as planned. She listens more than she speaks. Near the bar, she hears a woman whisper, "Did you see they gave scholarships to 6 inner-city kids this year?" Another voice scoffs. 6? That's excessive. At the Ashford table, Richard's voice carries easily. He's already on his 3rd scotch. "We had to hire 3 unqualified candidates last quarter just to meet diversity requirements," he says, shaking his head. Board's furious. His friends nod in agreement. Constance pats his arm, smiling. Brittany scrolls through her phone, then bursts into laughter, tilting the screen toward her friends. Diana catches a glimpse of the image as she passes. A meme mocking affirmative action. Diana doesn't react. She positions herself near the champagne fountain, not to drink, but to observe. In 2 hours, she learns more than she has in 2 years of reports. This charity claims to serve all youth in need. Their brochures feature smiling, diverse faces. Their mission statements talk about equity and opportunity. But here, in a room where the money gathers, the truth leaks out in whispers and jokes and unguarded comments. Diana's foundation donated $2.3 million to this organization over the past 3 years. More than any other donor. No one here recognizes her. That was the point. A waiter approaches her. Older, gray hair, kind eyes. "Can I get you anything, ma'am?" "No, thank you," Diana says, offering a warm smile. She glances at his name tag. "Jerome." He smiles back. "You look lovely tonight." "It's nice to see another face like mine here," she replies softly. They share a brief, knowing glance. Then he moves on. Diana checks her watch. 8:45 p.m. The program is set to begin at 9. She plans to stay another hour. Observe. Leave quietly. That was the plan. But plans don't account for entitlement. Across the room, Brittany Ashford stands up. She smooths her scarlet dress, lifts her phone, and heads straight toward the champagne fountain, toward Diana. And in that moment, quiet, unremarkable, unnoticed, the course of the night changes forever. Brittany Ashford doesn't look where she's going. She never does. Her eyes are fixed on her phone as she walks, thumbs scrolling, lips curved in mild boredom, Posture relaxed with the ease of someone who has never had to apologize for taking up space. The champagne fountain bubbles beside her, crystal glasses stacked neatly, staff hovering nearby in case she wants anything adjusted. Diana steps slightly to the side, instinctive, courteous. It isn't enough. You're in my shot. The words land sharp and impatient, like a command given to furniture. Diana turns calmly. Excuse me. Brittany finally looks up. Really looks. Her gaze moves slowly, from Diana's face to her earrings to the cut of her dress, lingering just long enough to calculate value. Not money. Belonging. A smirk forms. I said you're my shot, Brittany repeats, lifting her phone. I'm trying to take a picture. There's space everywhere. Open marble floors. Empty space behind Diana. Diana doesn't point that out. Instead, she steps back another inch. Brittany rolls her eyes dramatically, turning to her friends. God, do they let anyone in here now? A few laughs ripple outward. Not loud. Casual. Comfortable. Constance Ashford appears at her daughter's side, as if summoned by instinct. What's going on? She asks, eyes already assessing, already aligned. This woman keeps hovering. Brittany says, It's weird. Constance looks Diana up and down, lips pursing faintly. Guess usually wear Chanel or Versace to events like this, she says sweetly. You look more Macy's. Another laugh, louder this time. Diana feels it, not embarrassment, not shame, but clarity. This is who they are when they think no one important is watching. I'm allowed to stand here, Diana says evenly. Richard Ashford joins them, drink in hand, already smiling like he's been entertained before he's even heard the joke. Is there a problem? He asks. Before Diana can speak, Brittany answers. She's harassing me, she says casually. Won't move. Keeps staring. Richard's eyes harden instantly. Is that so? He turns to Diana. Ma'am, I suggest you step away from my daughter. I haven't touched her, Diana replies. I haven't spoken to her until now. That's not what Brittany says. Phones rise again. Subtly, quietly, anticipating entertainment. Richard signals toward the edge of the room. Security. The word changes everything. 2 guards approach, large, uniformed, already suspicious. Their eyes flick to Richard, then to Diana. The decision is made before questions are asked. What seems to be the issue, one asks. She's bothering my family, Richard says, making my daughter uncomfortable. Diana opens her mouth to respond. One guard lifts a hand. Ma'am, please step aside. Please don't touch me, Diana says calmly. The guard's grip tightens anyway. Gasps ripple through the crowd, not of concern but of excitement. This is ridiculous, Diana says, voice steady despite the sudden pressure on her arm. I'm a guest. Then you won't mind stepping into the service corridor while we sort this out, the guard replies. Brittany lifts her phone higher. Smile, she says. This is going viral. As they pull Diana away, Brittany grabs a fresh glass of red wine from a passing tray. She doesn't hesitate. She tips it deliberately, pouring it down Diana's back in a slow, deliberate motion. Thick, sticky, red against cream silk. Oops, she says again, louder this time. Guess you'll always look dirty no matter what you wear. Laughter erupts. Diana stops walking. The guards tug harder. Ma'am, keep moving. Diana turns her head slightly, just enough to look back. Her gaze locks on Brittany. There is no anger in it, no fear, only memory. They escort her through a side door, away from the music, away from the chandeliers, into a narrow service hallway that smells faintly of cleaning solution and spilled liquor. The door shuts behind them. The laughter fades. Inside the hallway, Diana stands alone with 2 guards who now look slightly uncertain. Name, one asks. Diana Morrison. He types it into a tablet. Nothing comes up. What organization are you with? I'm here representing a foundation. Which one? She pauses. The Morrison Foundation. The guard snorts softly. Never heard of it. They lead her into a storage room, metal shelves stacked with linens and folding chairs. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead. Wait here, One says. They leave. Minutes pass. Then more minutes. Her phone buzzes in her purse. Missed calls. Messages. No one asks to see them. When the guards return, they're not alone. 2 police officers stand behind them. What's going on? Diana asks. You're being detained. An officer says. We receive reports of harassment and assault. Assault? Diana repeats. You shoved a guest, the officer continues, and refused to comply with security. That isn't true. Tell it to the judge. Handcuffs click shut around her wrists. Cold. Final. Out in the ballroom. Brittany grins at her phone as hearts and comments flood in. Justice, she captions a video. But justice isn't done escalating yet. It's just getting started. The storage room feels smaller with handcuffs on. Metal bites lightly into Diana's wrists as the officers guide her into a chair. One of them searches her purse, laying its contents out on a folding table like evidence in a trial already decided. Wallet, phone, keys. They don't ask permission. They don't ask questions. They talk over her instead of to her. Foundational representative. One officer mutters, unimpressed. Sure. Outside the door, muffled music resumes. Applause. A speech beginning. Inside, Diana sits silently. She's been in rooms like this before. Not this one, but ones where power misjudged her. She knows the pattern. First comes humiliation. Then comes isolation. Then comes paperwork. A security supervisor enters, clipboard in hand. She's not on the primary guest list. He says, just a D. Morrison. Could be anyone. So she snuck in. Brittany's voice pipes up from the doorway. She's standing there now, framed by light, phone still recording. Can we hurry this up, she asks. I have followers waiting. The officer sighs. We're processing her. For what? Brittany presses. Trespassing. Harassment. Possibly fraud. Brittany smiles wider. Diana finally speaks. I want a lawyer. Laughter answers her. You're not under arrest yet, the officer says. Let's not make this harder than it needs to be. Minutes stretch. Then more. A junior officer enters hurriedly, whispering something to his partner. The partner frowns. What do you mean someone's asking for her? The junior officer swallows. Police Chief Brooks. He's on the line. Silence drops. What? He wants to know where Diana Morrison is. The room stills completely. The officer looks down at the file. Back at Diana. Who did you say you were again? Before she can answer, the door swings open. Police Chief Samuel Brooks steps inside. His uniform is immaculate. His expression is not. He takes in the scene in seconds. The cuffs, the officers, the open purse, the live streaming girl in designer heels. Uncuff her, he says. No one moves. I said uncuff her. Now. Metal clicks open. Diana stands slowly, smoothing the wine-stained fabric of her dress. Chief Brooks turns to the officers. You're both suspended pending investigation. Their faces drain of color. He looks at security next. You're fired. Then he faces Brittany. Turn off the phone, he says. But now. The live stream ends. Chief Brooks turns to Diana. My apologies, Ms. Morrison. The room seems to tilt. Outside, whispers explode. Richard Ashford pushes past security. What the hell is going on? Chief Brooks doesn't look at him. Ms. Morrison is the largest donor to this charity. Richard freezes. She owns a building your company leases. The chief continues. And she's been documenting discriminatory practices tied to your name for months. Phones come back out. But now, they're pointed in a different direction. Constance's smile vanishes. Brittany's face drains completely. This entire incident, the chief finishes, was recorded from multiple angles. Silence crashes down. The chandeliers glitter uselessly. And in that silence, everything the Ashfords thought they owned begins to fall apart. The ballroom doesn't erupt immediately. It freezes. Music stops mid-note. Conversations die mid-syllable. The beacon of hope logo glows silently above the stage, suddenly ironic, suddenly obscene. Diana stands near the doorway, freed from handcuffs but not from attention. Wine stains her dress like evidence that refuses to disappear. She doesn't rush to clean it. She doesn't rush to speak. She lets the truth do what it always does when it finally arrives. It spreads. Richard Ashford's mouth opens, then closes. He looks around as if someone might contradict what he's just heard. Someone important. Someone with authority. No one does. "You're mistaken," he says finally, forcing a laugh that lands flat. "My company." Chief Brooks turns slowly now. Deliberately. "Your company," he says, "has been under review for 6 months." Richard's smile collapses. "We received multiple complaints. Housing discrimination, retaliatory evictions, intimidation, silence bought with settlements." He gestures subtly toward Diana. "Ms. Morrison's foundation funded the investigations." A murmur ripples through the crowd. Not laughter this time. Calculation. Brittany clutches her phone with both hands, knuckles white. "This is ridiculous," she says. "You can't just—" Chief Brooks looks at her. Really looks. "Your live stream," he says calmly, "is already backed up. Multiple viewers downloaded it before you cut the feed." Her breath catches. "And the security footage," he continues, "belongs to the building owner." Diana meets Brittany's eyes. Still calm. Still silent. Which, the chief says, turning back the room, is Ms. Morrison. The words land like a controlled explosion. Not loud. Total. People step back instinctively. From the Ashfords, from the stain of association. Phones tilt again, but now they're careful. Strategic. Recording consequences instead of cruelty. Constance Ashford grips the edge of the table. Her diamond suddenly too heavy. "This is a misunderstanding," she says, voice brittle. "Our family has always supported." "Your family supported appearances," Diana says gently. It's the first time she's spoken since the reveal. The room leans toward her, without realizing it. "You funded galas," Diana continues. "Not equity. You celebrated diversity in brochures, while mocking it in private." Richard scoffs weakly. "You think this proves something?" "I think it documents something," Diana replies. Chief Brooks steps aside, and that's when the second reveal lands. A projector screen lowers behind the stage. Footage appears. Multiple angles. Brittany's shove, the wine pouring, the laughter, the moment Diana is grabbed, the search, the cuffs. Gasps break out, real ones this time. Someone near the back whispers, "Oh my God." Richard watches himself on screen, heard saying words he never expected to answer for. Constance's applause echoes through the speakers. Brittany's smirk fills the screen, frozen in high definition. This is edited. Brittany says desperately, "It's time-stamped," an officer replies. "And corroborated," Chief Brooks adds, "by witnesses." Jerome steps forward from the edge of the room. His voice doesn't shake. "I saw everything," he says. So did half the staff. Other servers nod. Security guards avoid eye contact. Richard Ashford straightens, panic hardening into anger. "Do you have any idea who I am?" Diana answers before anyone else can. "Yes," she says. "That's why I'm here." Silence stretches. Then someone claps. One clap. Then another. Not applause. Recognition. The Ashfords are escorted out. Not in cuffs, not yet, but in something far worse. Public clarity. As they pass through the ballroom, no one laughs. No one films openly. No one looks at them the way they used to. And for the first time that night, they understand what it feels like to be seen. The fallout doesn't happen all at once. It unfolds. First comes a news alert, short, cautious headlines at first. Charity Gala incident under investigation. Prominent family accused of discriminatory conduct. Then the longer pieces, the deep dives, the names attached to patterns. By morning, Brittany's video has been stitched, replayed, analyzed from every angle. Her words dissected, her smile slowed frame by frame. Past comments surface. Old posts. Deleted jokes recovered. Sponsors release statements. Then withdrawals. Richard Ashford's company loses 3 major contracts in a single week. Partners quietly distance themselves. Boards demand explanations. None satisfy. Employees come forward. Not one or two. Dozens. Stories overlap. Dates align. Patterns emerge too consistent to ignore. A former tenant describes being evicted after questioning rent hikes. A junior executive recalls being told not to push diversity hires too hard. A security contractor admits to being instructed to handle certain people more firmly. Each story stacks on the next. Evidence piles high enough that silence can't cover it anymore. Charges are filed. Civil suits first, then criminal investigations. Brittany is charged with assault and harassment. Her lawyers argue recklessness, immaturity, a moment. The judge isn't persuaded. Richard faces fraud investigations tied to misreported diversity initiatives. Grants revoked. Awards quietly rescinded. The charity dissolves within 2 months. Donations returned. Assets frozen. Through it all, Diana doesn't speak publicly at first. She doesn't need to. Her foundation does the work. Legal aid funds expand overnight. Discrimination cases long ignored are reopened. Settlements redirect money back into communities it was taken from. Jerome testifies. So do other staff members. Security companies rewrite training manuals. Police departments announce internal reviews. Not because they suddenly discover morality, but because the footage exists. Months later, Diana sits in her office. The dress hangs behind her, framed in glass. Still stained. Still untouched. A reporter asks why she kept it. So I remember, Diana says simply, and so others don't forget. Outside, construction begins on a new housing development. Fair leases, transparent policies, community oversight. It isn't perfect, but it's real. And it started the moment cruelty was documented instead of dismissed. The Ashfords fade from headlines eventually, not because they were forgiven, but because accountability finished its work. Diana remains. Quiet, focused, effective. And every time she enters a room now, people look twice. Not because of fear. Time passes. Not the kind that erases memory, but the kind that settles it into something permanent. The Metropolitan Grand Ballroom hosts other events after that night. Different banners. Different sponsors. New speeches about unity and progress. The chandeliers are polished. The marble floors gleam again. But for the people who were there, the room never quite feels the same. Diana Morrison doesn't return. She doesn't need to. Her work moves elsewhere. Into courtrooms where voices once ignored are finally heard. Into conference rooms where policies are rewritten under the weight of evidence. Into neighborhoods where trust was broken long before that gala ever existed. She keeps her schedule quiet. No victory interviews, that no book deals, that no televised debates. Power, when used correctly, doesn't need a spotlight. In her office, the wine-stained dress hangs behind glass. The fabric has dried stiff where it was soaked. The color never faded. She didn't clean it. She never planned to. Visitors sometimes notice it and look away quickly, unsure if they're allowed to ask. Some do anyway. Why keep it? They say. Why not move on? Diana always answers the same way. Because people forget too easily when there's nothing left to look at. She remembers the silence more than the insults. The moment after the wine poured. The moment before anyone intervened. The moment when cruelty waited, confident, because it expected permission. That's the part she refuses to let fade. Jerome still works events sometimes, though not as often. He now trains staff instead, teaching them how to document, how to report, how to protect themselves when power tries to speak without consequence. You don't have to be loud, he tells them. You just have to be ready. Some nights, he thinks about how close he came to saying nothing at all. So do many others. The officers involve complete mandatory retraining. One resigns. Another transfers quietly. Internal policies change. Not dramatically, not overnight, but enough that future complaints don't disappear as easily as they used to. Small shifts. Real ones. Brittany Ashford serves her sentence quietly. No cameras. No followers cheering her on. Her name still appears online, but now it's attached to court documents and case studies. not likes. She gives a statement once, brief, controlled, advised by counsel. It isn't forgiveness she asks for. It's distance. Richard Ashford never regains his influence. The contracts don't come back. The rooms that once welcomed him stop returning calls. He learns late in life that reputation isn't wealth, it's access. And access can be revoked. Months later, the Henderson Project opens its doors. Families move in. Children play in courtyards that don't require proof of worthiness to exist. Rent is fair. Rules are transparent. Oversight is constant. There's no ribbon-cutting gala. Just keys handed over quietly. Diana watches from a distance as the first residents arrive. She doesn't introduce herself. She doesn't need credit. She already knows what matters. The final image that circulates online from that night isn't the shove or the wine or the handcuffs. It's the moment just before the reveal. Diana standing still, calm, unreactive, surrounded by people who thought cruelty was entertainment, and discovering, too late, that silence can be a form of evidence. If you were there that night, you might ask yourself what you would have done. Would you have laughed? Would you have recorded? Would you have looked away and told yourself it wasn't your place? Or would you have recognized the moment for what it was? A test, because justice doesn't arrive on its own. It doesn't interrupt rooms unless someone lets it end it. IT doesn't speak unless someone records it. IT doesn't act unless someone chooses to remember. Power depends on that. So does accountability. And the next time a room goes quiet after something ugly is said, the next time someone waits to see if cruelty will be allowed to stand, remember this. Silence is never neutral. It either protects the powerful or it exposes them. And that choice is always yours.